Welcome back, everyone. I am here with Benjamin Bug, who just won the Armageddon, two Armageddons to clinch the title for Group A. So congratulations, Benjamin. How do you feel?
Yeah, it feels amazing. Uh, yeah, that's all. Yeah, it feels amazing. Feels great, of course, to win the event. Yeah, I knew it was not going to be easy, and I felt like my main competitor was going to be Sevian. I've actually also played him in the World Cup in 2021, and the match that also went down to the wire. So it feels great to get my revenge, and yeah, it feels great to win the event overall.
And you started the tournament with a loss, actually, right? And then you had a few draws, and then you won 2 games in a row, and you played one of the probably the best games of the tournament, as you described it, the perfect game where you had that amazing preparation, and then you won that bishop versus knight position. And then today you decided to make a quick draw. Were you hoping it'd go into tie breaks? Did you think you had a better chance, or why didn't you want to try beating your opponent?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, yeah, I felt like I just kind of wanted to get the tournament over with. I felt like I played a good event. I didn't want to spoil it in the last round, and I figured, okay, in the tiebreak, I'll get my chances. Of course, I knew that a lot of people could join for a tiebreak. Up to 6 people. It ended up being 5, and I wasn't even sure what the format was gonna be. But yeah, I figured, okay, I just wanted to lock in shared first and a good event. And yeah, that was basically my thought process going into the game. Like I just didn't want to take big risks into going into this game, and yeah, he ended up playing very solidly, and so yeah, and then we went for this repetition, and I was fine with it. So I don't necessarily have any real regrets.
Well, not after this, right?
Not after this, of course, but even after the game, even when I saw many people winning, I kind of regretted not winning yesterday against Misha. That was a little bit annoying because I felt like I had great chances to win that game, and if I win that game, I think I have great chances to win the event. But yeah, today I felt like just playing it solid, and we'll see what happens in the tiebreak.
So when you finished your game, what kind of tiebreak were you expecting? So you probably thought that Christopher would draw, or you didn't think he would win with the black pieces, right? There was probably a thought process. So what kind of realistically, what were you expecting? Because it's hard to expect so many players to win and have this huge tiebreak, right?
Yeah, so by the time I finished my game, I thought that, well, first I thought Christopher Yu was a bit worse, and then he got a better position, and then he blundered. So yeah, when he got a better position, I was a little bit worried. I was thinking like, oh, I hope he doesn't win and just win the event overall. And then he blundered, and of course that's very unfortunate for him, but I was happy to see it. Yeah, it was. I thought there's a good chance that at least one player would join. Like 2, you never know. But I thought that there would be a good chance we would play a tiebreak with 4 players. But yeah, I've never had an event where there's a 5-way tie for first, and 5 out of 9 wins you the event.
Yeah, it's like half of the tournament ties for first place. Yeah,
Yeah.
this was a very tightly contested tournament. And let's talk about this Armageddon. So in your first game, so you actually got seeded into the next round because of your good tiebreak. So you didn't play the first game, and you chose to play white, and you actually chose to play white in both games. So why did you choose to play white instead of getting the draws?
I feel like it's just a little bit easier to play with white. You have an extra minute on the clock, which definitely counts for something, and you get the white pieces. And I figure with white, I'm just going to go all out and try to play quickly, try to put as much pressure as possible. Whereas with black, you can easily start hesitating, like, should I play solid? Should I play for the win? So I feel like it's, in a way, easier to play with white, like you know what you have to do. And I feel like 1 minute is definitely a significant advantage, especially over the board. When you play online, you can make up with pre-moves at the end, but over the board, if you have 10 seconds against 30, you're just going to lose.
And I think 5 versus 4, like white has a huge advantage, right? Because the time is so little. So at which point do you think that it becomes a little more even with the time difference?
It's a very good question. So I think at World Cups, they often have the time control where white gets 5 minutes and black gets 4 minutes. But there is 2 seconds of increment after move 60. So I asked Mike whether there was an increment at any point during the game, and he said no. So then I knew, okay, I'm just going to pick white. I think maybe something like 6 versus 5 is around even, but I think 5 versus 4, white should definitely have an advantage.
So you think this increment makes a huge difference? Because we had this conversation during last year American Cup, and Levon was very insistent about this increment because he thought at some point it's just not chess anymore, because we see these games, right? The pieces rolling. And so you think without increment, you just always choose white in this time control?
I think 5 versus 4, you should pick white, yeah.
So let's quickly talk about your games. So they were very quick games. I don't know how much of it you remember, because I know it's pure adrenaline. So in this first game, so the position, let's go to this bishop endgame. So at this point, when all of this a5 happens, how were you feeling here?
I wasn't too happy here. Like, I'm still up like 30 or 20 seconds on the clock, but it's difficult to win, and I mean, he's just completely fine. So it's very difficult to win. I wasn't too happy here, but at some point he kept spending time, and yeah, if we keep going. So I thought, like, here I'm definitely a favorite, or I don't know if I was a favorite to lose, but I mean, I still have the time, which always counts for something. So I wasn't too happy here, but at some point, okay, so a4, I go my pawn up, but he just stops it. I mean, I still have like 20 seconds on the clock, which is definitely something. So bishop a6, I go king up, a3, king up, king d7, king f5, he takes, bishop c3. I mean, right around here, so bishop d3, e4, I feel like it cannot be good for me, but as you see, I have 1 minute and 13 seconds, he's got 50 seconds. And it's not clear to me how he's going to promote the pawn. Like, he can go bishop b1 and a2, but my moves are very easy. I go king g6, I take on g7, and in the worst case, I can give one of my bishops, take all his kingside pawns, hope for something, and of course I always have the time. So I wasn't necessarily too concerned here. And then, of course, when he played king d6, he blundered a pawn.
Yeah, this was
and
heartbreaking
then I
moment.
think it's just over, because I'm up 20 seconds and his kingside just collapses. So this is just over.
Yeah, this was a really heartbreaking moment, because we felt like he was defending, he was playing so well, and there was another moment he could have just blundered when he went bishop a6, because, you know, first you go ahead, bishop e6 all of a sudden, and then he found, I feel like, kind of found bishop a6, and then king d6, which pretty heartbreaking to see, because, you know, he just played so hard this whole game, and he also played such a long game to qualify to this tiebreak, so it was just really amazing to see him fight so hard. And as you mentioned, the time advantage was really big. And in your second game, you also chose white against Sam. So and you didn't play anything too theoretical, right? You just
well, this line has some venom to it, and I always see Hikaru play this online. So that was kind of my inspiration going into the game. And like, you know, white keeps the pieces on the board. It's a little bit easier to play for white. And I think like right around here after bishop e7, and the good thing was, I think after e3 on the second move, like, I got Sam thinking at least for a little bit, whereas he's super booked up, and that gave me an edge on the clock. Like, I think very quickly I was not at 1 minute, but like 1 minute and 30 seconds, 1 minute and 20 seconds, and that's definitely what you want. So I was happy with what I got out of the opening. So here, it all looks pretty good. I go e4, rook c8, rook fe1. Perhaps at some point I just have to go e5. You know, kick the knight away. And yeah, again, like if you look at the clock, I'm up like more than a minute, so a minute and 10 seconds. But to me, it looked good to, after queen b6, to take on d5. But yeah, so he takes. I think all of this is fine. Queen e4, g6, c4, all of this looks good. Take. And the one thing though is that I took a long time for e takes d5. And again, like I'm still up on the clock. Yeah, like 30 seconds. 30 seconds, like you shouldn't, like, I was talking with a friend before the game, and he told me, like, never spend a minute in an Armageddon game.
Yeah, a minute is your advantage, right? You cannot just spend it.
But of course
So were you considering e5?
I wasn't really considering e5. Like, I like the fact that I have my two bishops on the diagonal. So I like this idea of takes and queen e4, and it's kind of awkward for him to protect. And yeah, I saw c4, so he takes queen d8. Yeah, all of this looks really good. And then when he played bishop f6, I initially missed it after takes. I kind of go knight d6 because he goes knight c3. But I still like my position. Like after rook c1, I think I always have some pressure. But yeah, my time advantage was dwindling here. Like here I'm up like 30 seconds, and he gets a fine position. But rook fd8 looks pretty logical. Bishop f1 I thought was a good move. Knight e7. I don't know if knight e5 was good. But I mean, I still have some pressure, but again, like I don't have as much of an edge on the clock anymore. And then he got his pieces pretty active. So knight e5, knight a5, queen e3. So he took, and bishop d5. I went knight b6. So he took queen b2. Maybe I think like at some point I should just take the pawn on a6. And I don't know. That's definitely the difference between like classical and blitz. Like in a classical game, you just calculate. In the blitz game, you're like, well, maybe he will start creating some threats, or I don't know. Like you want to keep some sort of control, but of course that's difficult. So he went, there.
But this just looks so nice for you because your king looks so safe, and this knight on c5 is just beautiful.
Yeah, so knight f5, but around here time was even, so that was definitely a bit concerning. But okay, queen c3, I thought the endgame should be good for me. Then rook d1. I think I'm still better here. Like I have the advantage on the board, but of course I'd like to have both, like the advantage on the clock and on the board.
So what happens if you take this knight h4?
I'm just asking for something to happen like that. Yeah. And I thought, okay, with rook d1, at least I pin his bishop. So it's going to be difficult for him to unleash some sort of tactic. Rook c8. And queen e5 to me looked very pleasant. And I already saw this idea of knight d7 to f6. But again, like time is even, so pretty much anything can happen. But then he played a5 quickly. I played knight d7. And I think here he's just in a world of trouble. Like knight f6 is a major threat. If he ever goes like king h8, I take on d5, or like knight e4. So already I didn't see move for him. And here he was thinking for a long time. I don't know how long. Yeah, he spent almost a minute. A minute, and that pretty much says. So yeah, after knight d7, I think it's just over, at least practically, especially after he took so long.
Did you already at the board? Did you feel like you have this in the game, or you were just still?
I thought like, oh, this is looking really good, but of course you can never relax. You should stay focused till the very end. But I mean, knight f6 is coming. Like if you have this in a blitz game, you win this like 99% of the time. But he plays there, knight f6, takes, and yeah, here I pretty much knew it was over. Like I'm up 30 seconds. I have that a pawn running down the board. And I was pretty happy with how I converted the game. I thought after bishop b3, g4 was super accurate. Like the knight has to move. And here all of his pieces are loose. So that's also another thing for him. Like it's very difficult for him not to drop more material. If he moves the knight, then often queen b7 and all of his stuff is hanging. And then...
Oh yeah, this is just attack every single piece.
Yeah, and rook c3, or rook c3, I can just take the knight, but never mind. Okay, so yeah, rook c6. And now I just push the pawn. And yeah, on top of that, he had no time, so...
I like here how you took the bishop. I appreciated this a lot because this knight is just so bad that you just take the bishop.
Yeah, and with 1 minute against 19 seconds.
And then you picked up another piece and it was game over. Yeah, this was a very dominant performance by you. And you do win clear first place, picking up $6,000. So there was no tie for you. This was a big money round. So what is next for you?
I don't know yet. It's a good question. So yeah, I don't play a whole lot over the board anymore, but this event definitely got me, fired up again. I want to play more, but it's kind of funny. Like you said, I lost the first round, then the second round I also played terrible, and I'm thinking to myself like, okay, why am I playing this tournament? But starting from round 3, I got into it. I felt like I played good chess, and I knew eventually my chances are going to come, and I took them. My next tournament, I don't know. Like over the summer, there will be the Dutch Championship. Since I've never won it, I definitely want to win it at least one time, in my career before I retire. So yeah, that's definitely on my radar. For the rest, I don't know. Like, there's these.
What about World Cup?
Unfortunately, I didn't qualify. Like I didn't play the European Championship, and that was my one chance to qualify. So hey, maybe if Fiat is watching, they can give me a wild card. But yeah, no, I definitely want to play more chess again. I want to try to push for the top 100, try to push for 2650. I think it's definitely possible. And beyond that, of course, it's not going to be easy. But I definitely want to play more over the board chess and shift my focus a little bit more to that.
I feel like this is the cycle of chess when you're not a professional player. Like, you don't play and you're like, what, chess is so hard. Then you have one good tournament and then you get so inspired and then you start playing again and then you play badly and then you're like, no.
Well, often what happens to people is that they play a lot and they're like, oh, this is so tiring, this is stressful. And then they start missing it, right? And then they play and they're like, oh, this is so difficult. And they go back into retirement. But yeah, I definitely have been missing it every time like there's a big event going on, like Tatev Steel Chess. I'm kind of like, I kind of wish I was there. So now I'm here again, and yeah, I think also for myself, like with every event I play, I feel like there's always something I learn, not just from playing, but also all the preparation. That's the great thing about these events, because a lot of these tournaments in the US, you play 2 rounds a day, and you know you wake up, you prepare some line, and you go and play, and then before you know it, like your game finishes, you have to eat something, and you play again. But with these kind of events, I feel like it definitely gives players to push their game to the next level, and so that's why I think it's great for players like Mishra or Christopher Yu, who are still very very young to play in these, and all the other prodigies in the B group as well. So I think these events are great, and yeah, maybe I'll play in the Summer Classic as well.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you because I think there's a rating group that just, you're in the middle. You don't get invited to these top tournaments, and then you're grinding this open tournaments, and that's so difficult. And if you're not playing a lot, what are you doing? Are you streaming more? You're teaching?
Yeah, I'm streaming. I'm teaching. I put all my lessons on hold during this event, so sorry to my to my students. I'll pick up again. Yeah, probably from tomorrow. And yeah, I think I'll do a stream tonight to celebrate. Besides that, they're having these Olympic online Olympic esports qualifiers, which started today. I think there's also some tomorrow, so I think I'll play in those as well. So yeah, lots of chess coming up.
Online chess, mostly. Yep. Well, best of luck to you. Again, congratulations on winning this event. Hopefully it does inspire you to play more over the board, and looking forward to seeing you here more. And that was the winner of Group A, Benjamin Bach, who won